Hey, what's going on everyone? Today I'll be reviewing Solo Leveling. In case you haven't heard of Solo Leveling, which you definitely have because this show is doing absolutely ridiculous numbers, it's a relatively new anime from a manhwa, which is essentially just a Korean manga to my understanding. Now with the spike in popularity, that brings up the question, is Solo Leveling overrated? Comment your thoughts on Solo Leveling down below. To give a quick summary of Solo Leveling for those who may have not seen it yet, it follows a hunter named Sung Jinwoo who was deemed as humanity's weakest hunter. In the Solo Leveling universe, hunters can be anywhere from S rank to E rank, with S being the best. And once you've awakened your powers, you aren't able to get any stronger unless you undergo a reawakening. However, that is a very rare occurrence. Essentially, it is impossible to get any stronger once you've awakened, that is, until an incident in a dungeon that left Jinwoo with the ability to level up as if he's in a video game. So we then follow Jinwoo as he becomes a stronger hunter and takes on many different tough opponents. Moving on with the rest of my review, there will be spoilers for both Season 1 and 2 of Solo Leveling, so if you'd like to still see my rating without the spoilers, skip to the timestamp on screen. Let me just start off this review by saying I'm most definitely not remembering or pronouncing most of the names in this show correctly, so bear with me when I'm talking about certain characters. I'll try to make it easy by putting them on screen when I mention them. First things first, I'm going to talk about the characters in Solo Leveling, starting off with our main character, Sung Jinwoo. Now, I'm sure you've all seen the memes and stuff about all the aura farming Jinwoo does, and let me just say, it's for good reason. I mean, this dude will literally do whatever it takes to make sure he's looking cool when entering a fight, even if it means his allies are getting their asses handed to them for a couple of minutes. But, in all seriousness, I think Jinwoo is a great main character. From the beginning, even when he was weak and essentially useless, he never backed down on trying to support his family. Jinwoo was always of pure heart, and that's something that hasn't really changed since he's gained this massive amount of power. That was one thing that worried me pretty early on in Season 1. I felt like he might lose himself to the importance of the goals he had become a hunter to complete. Now when it comes to side characters in Solo Leveling, there's quite a few, however, most of them don't carry much importance it feels like. Not to say I don't like them, but realistically most of the characters we meet become irrelevant really quickly because of how quickly Jinwoo gets stronger. For example, the S-rank hunters like Cha, the two red-haired dudes, and the S-ranks from other countries are seemingly getting quickly outclassed and left behind. Now I get the idea behind Solo Leveling is that Jinwoo is progressing on his own, I mean it's literally in the name, but I still feel like it doesn't hurt to give more depth and importance to the side characters. Now with all that being said, even though most of the side characters don't have that big a role, I still really enjoyed seeing them. And not even just the hunters, but characters like Gina and Jinwoo's mom, along with Gina's friend and the D-rank hunter who Jinwoo became friends with. They're all seemingly the most important side characters because they hold a close connection to Jinwoo. I just hope that we get to see some more importance from the side characters in the future, that's all. And speaking of the future of Solo Leveling, I did have another concern. With the rapid progression of Jinwoo and his strength, how is the story going to progress further in a way that's still entertaining? Now, I will say some of this concern has been lowered with the finale of Season 2, which I enjoyed a lot. There are plenty of interesting things that happened in the finale that will set up for an entertaining Season 3, or maybe even stretching into a 4th season. We still have a lot to learn about Jinwoo's father and the two other characters who appeared towards the end of the Season 2 finale. Not to mention the hunters from other countries that we haven't seen too much of yet look like they could make for some interesting plot points. But even with all this new opportunity for story advancement, at the end of the day, we know as a main character, Jinwoo probably isn't just going to get stopped here, he's going to continue leveling up and getting stronger, which again brings up the question, where do we go from here? Anyways, maybe I'm just looking too deep into it. Let's talk about the animation and fights in Solo Leveling, because if we're being honest, that's the main attraction of this show, and the animation is amazing in Solo Leveling. It creates super entertaining fights and is honestly up there with some of the better animated fights I've seen in anime so far. I wouldn't quite say it reaches the levels of Jujutsu Kaisen and definitely not Demon Slayer, but it is still truly amazing animation. The last thing I really wanted to talk about would be the Solo Leveling community. While not all the fans are bad, there's still a portion of the community that is super toxic for no reason if we're being honest. And let me just say, the fact that the episode where Jinwoo cried because he was finally able to cure his mom's disease being the most disliked episode at the time of its release is just ridiculous. From a story standpoint, that episode was by far one of the best in the entire show. And yet, here we are with these fight merchants disliking it just because Jinwoo cried. Like, are we being dead ass right now? We do realize that the entirety of the story was leading up to this moment. The reason he was fighting and getting stronger was also Jinwoo could finally see his mother again. Anyways, enough of that little rant, because I know it's not all of the fans, but it's still just ridiculous. Since I'm on the topic of the story, I'd like to quickly say Solo Leveling's story isn't very complex or outstanding in any way, and to be honest, it's quite predictable. However, that doesn't mean the story is bad at all. A story being simple isn't deserving of being called bad. I've said pretty much the same thing for Demon Slayer, which is another show that's similar to Solo Leveling in this way. To wrap everything up, let me answer my question from the beginning of the video. Do I believe Solo Leveling is overrated? Well, the short answer is yes. Now, put down your pitchforks. I don't think Solo Leveling is bad by any means. At the end of the day, Solo Leveling is very entertaining, and that's what's really important. But I've seen multiple times people putting Solo Leveling as like a top 5 anime of all time, and I just can't really agree with that. And let me also just say, I know opinions on shows and stuff is subjective, so you are free to like Solo Leveling as much as you want. I'm just speaking from my perspective on things. So with that being said, my rating for Solo Leveling is a 9.2 out of 10. Like I said, I still think it's overrated, but by no means is it bad. Don't forget to comment your thoughts on Solo Leveling down below. Do you agree or disagree with my take? Thank you for watching my review of Solo Leveling. If you did enjoy, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing to my channel for more content like this in the future. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.